Today we're tackling the internet's favorite fish. I'll be showing you guys how to make salmon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We got salmon cakes, we got salmon bites, and I'm gonna show you guys how to make the perfect pan-seared salmon. Stick around, meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right, first things first, we got a 3-pound salmon fillet here. We're gonna break this down as needed. Basically, all the ugly parts are gonna turn into our salmon cakes. So when you buy a salmon like this, you get it for a little bit of a discount. It's a little bit cheaper to do the work yourself. I'm gonna show you guys the best way to do that. You can remove the skin if you want to. I actually like to leave the skin on because it has a lot of nutrients, texture, flavor, all that good stuff. This thin part here at the end isn't gonna make for good fillets for your dinner. So we're gonna cut that off first. That'll be the first party to visit the salmon cake pile. And then the belly portion down here is real thin, a whole lot thinner than the thick portion of salmon, so it'll be overcooked by the time the thicker part is done. So we're gonna carve that off as well. And that will also go into the salmon cake pile. So there's no need to throw this stuff away, guys. Sometimes I see people throw this stuff away and you're missing out on some delicious salmon cakes. A hell of a lot better than that pink can that a lot of people are using. So we'll set that aside there. Also down here, as you can see, we got an uneven portion of the fillet that will also make its way into the salmon cake pile. Boom. Now you could also use this for salmon bites because it's a little bit thicker, but we need some salmon cakes. So for me, for dinner or lunch, I like about a 4 or 5 ounce portion, which is usually about 3 fingers, depending on the size of your fingers, obviously. Just gonna break that down like so. It's probably more like a 3 ounce portion. But you can break out the food scale and figure it out if you want to. Excellent for meal prep, lunch, dinner, whatever, reheats really well. And that right there gets you 3, 4, 5, 6 nice equal sized salmon fillets. So you can determine how many of those you want to cook for your lunch and dinner, and then how many of those you want to turn into salmon bites. Today, I think we're just going to take like 2 of these, since it's just for demonstration purposes, and break it down into about 1.5 inch piece. That's going to bread up nicely, fry up great. Now I'm on record as one of those people that kind of hated on fried salmon in the beginning, but after trying it, it's pretty damn delicious. So I was wrong. Fried salmon is delicious. Definitely give it a try if you haven't already. So there we go. Actually, I think we'll do 3. Make it even. Boom. 3 fillets turn into salmon bites, 3 fillets for dinner, and then we're gonna do our salmon cakes, and that's what we'll be doing for the breakfast or brunch portion of the episode. All right, guys, so for the salmon cakes, we have some salmon here, the trimmings from the slab of salmon. We're gonna hit that with some avocado oil or olive oil. I don't oil the bottom of this because I actually want the skin to stick to the foil, which is not typically what you want, but for this I do. That way I can just pull the meat right off, makes it super easy. Just gonna rub that oil in and then season it with whatever your favorite seasoning is. Today I'm gonna use my lemon bay, which is great on seafood and poultry. It's kind of like a blend of lemon pepper and Old Bay. Gives some kind of Cajun vibes a little bit as well. But again, just season it up. We're gonna season the salmon cakes also, so no need to go crazy, but you wanna get a little bit of flavor on there. We're gonna pop that in the oven at 400 degrees until the salmon is fully cooked, about 130, 135 internal. Remove it, shred it up, and then make our salmon cakes. All right, so while the salmon's cooling, we're gonna go ahead and prep our veggies. For the veggies, we got onion, we got bell pepper. I like to use red and green just for the color contrast. All right, so we just wanna sweat these veggies down. We're gonna season that with my AP seasoning and a little bit of garlic paste, about a teaspoon or so. We're gonna season this all the way through. So you're gonna season each step of the way and just sweat these down until they start to get nice and tender. So now that the salmon has cooled, we're gonna take 2 forks and just shred it apart. As you can see, it's cooked beautifully. And as promised, that skin has stuck to the bottom of the pan, which is exactly what you want. Very easy to remove if you do it like that. Just scrape the salmon right off of the skin and try to get it in the bowl. There we go. And just do that same process for all of your salmon here. Then we're going to take those forks and shred it up and add the remainder of our ingredients to make our salmon cakes. So you can use 2 forks to just get in there with your hands, shred it up nicely like so. You can use that for egg rolls. You can make salmon burgers or salmon croquettes, salmon cakes like we're doing today. We're gonna add in those cooled veggies. We got onions, bell pepper, garlic, a little pinch of parsley. Next, we're going in with our mayonnaise. We need about 3 tablespoons in total. You guys know I like my Duke's mayonnaise, but use whatever you can find at your local grocery store. Just make sure it's good quality stuff. Next, we're going in with a few dashes of worst word in the world sauce, just to add a little bit of complexity to the flavor profile. Little AP seasoning and some lemon bay. And then we're just gonna give that a good mix together. Add 2 eggs plus some panko breadcrumbs so that they form nice patties, and then we'll cook them. Quick reminder, guys, that all the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe can be found in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. Now for your salmon patties, you can make them as big as you want to. I like mine around, 5 ounces or so. 4 ounces works too. Just gonna make them into little patties like this, about the size of the palm of your hand. It's kind of my go-to. And you can serve, 2 or 3 of these per person, depending on how hungry your guests are. We're gonna line them up on a foil pan. Then I'm gonna sear them. And if you got space in your skillet, you can just keep them in the skillet, finish them in the oven, or you can put them back on this foil pan after you sear them and then get them in the oven to finish. Either way, can't go wrong with some salmon cakes. Serve this up with some grits. If you're doing it for brunch, some eggs. Serve this over some hash. If you're making it for dinner, serve it with some potatoes or over rice. Can't go wrong. Hell, you could patty this up a little bigger and make a burger out of it if you want to. Giving you guys some options today. All right, guys, now it's time to go ahead and sear up the salmon cakes. We got my beautiful skillet. If you don't have that, you can grab that via the link in the description box for 35% off right now with the code SKILLET. We're gonna go ahead and sear these with some avocado oil, a little butter, get them on the tray, pop them in the oven until they're finished. I need my fish spatula. Wherefore art thou? I like to add a little butter just for flavor. We're gonna get that in the skillet as well, about a half tablespoon or so. And then in goes those salmon cakes. At this size, you probably fit about 4 at a time. Yes, sir. Get some beautiful color on there. We're gonna flip them over, finish them in the oven. Once we got a beautiful crust, we're gonna go ahead and flip them over. And that, my friends, don't get better than that. That is a beautiful salmon cake. Can't find my fish spatula, so forgive me. Boom, that's what you wanna see. I'm gonna get them on the tray, finish them off in the oven. They're gonna be good. Now we're gonna make a real quick sauce for these salmon cakes. To get started, we got about a half cup of mayo in here. We're gonna go down with a tablespoon of sriracha. You can use a little bit more if you want it to be a little bit more spicy. I'm using my hot AP seasoning, so I'm gonna go a little lighter on the sriracha. Teaspoon of garlic. You can use fresh, roasted garlic, minced garlic, whatever you have. 1 to 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Ketchup's also gonna add a little bit of sweetness to the party, kind of counterbalance a little bit of the heat, and it's gonna give it some nice color. Speaking of heat, a little bit of red pepper flakes, just a pinch, guys, don't go too crazy. This sauce is a little bit on the spicier side, so if you don't like it spicy, you can leave out the red pepper flakes. You can leave out a little bit of the sriracha or cut it back a little bit. A few dashes of worst word in the world sauce. Teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Oh, Jesus. That'll make the blooper reel. Going in with some chives. About a big tablespoon worth of that. A hit of my all-purpose seasoning and a little bit of my hot all-purpose seasoning. If you guys haven't tried that, if you're a fan of spicy, that's the way to go. It's fantastic. Got a little jalapeno powder in there. And let's give that a good mix. And this is gonna really elevate the flavor of your salmon cakes. Last but not least, just a pinch of white sugar. Again, just to balance the flavor profile, we got some spicy elements in there. So we're gonna add a little sweet, just so everything plays nicely together. Give that a good mix. And that, my friends, is gonna be fantastic on your salmon cakes. All right, guys, time to get in here for the taste test on these salmon cakes. And man, they look good. A little bit of that special sauce. Yeah, I would like these. I would drop my fork, but we got one more dish to eat. Damn, that's good. Now for the salmon bites, I like to marinate mine for at least 30 minutes or so, totally optional. We're gonna hit this with some buttermilk, about a cup of that, and then some hot sauce. You can add some seasoning to this if you want to, but today I'm using my seasoned flour, which is already heavily seasoned. No need to go too much more seasoning than that. So we're gonna go with a couple tablespoons of hot sauce, a cup of buttermilk, and that's all the marinade the salmon's gonna need, because we're gonna go ahead and coat it in that delicious seasoned flour. Now, if you don't have my seasoned flour, you can go ahead and get it via the link in the description box, or you can make your own. Just season it with some salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, some Cajun seasoning. Mine has a little chicken bouillon powder in it, some sazon, a couple different flavors, but again, season it with whatever you like on your fish. So make a generic fish breader. You can grab that from the store too if you want to. No wrong way to do it, guys. Season everything to your personal preference. Now for the salmon bites, I like to use a dipping sauce, but you can eat them straight up fried like that, it's just fine. But for me, I like a bang bang sauce for mine, firecracker sauce, whatever you want to call it. For that, you're gonna need some mayonnaise. We're gonna use about a half cup of mayo. To that, we're gonna add about a 1/4 cup of sweet chili sauce. This is my favorite brand right here, guys. I think I might have added a little bit too much in there, running my mouth, but hey, it happens. Then we're gonna add some Sriracha, whatever brand you can find at the store. And then about a teaspoon of low sodium soy sauce. Ties everything together. And as simple as that, guys. You can coat the salmon bites in that, make a salmon bite sandwich. I have that recipe on the channel as well. Or just use it as a dipping sauce. Absolutely delicious, very palatable. Your guests will love it. It's a perfect blend of sweet, savory, and spicy. And it looks nice. So we're just gonna mix that together. Add a pinch more Sriracha. Because why the hell not? We're here for a good time, not a long time. And it doesn't get easier than that. You can use that on any shrimp, any seafood it's great on. It's great with chicken as well. And now, my friends, it's time to fry up our salmon bites. We got our oil coming up to about 350 degrees, which is the optimal temperature for frying. We're gonna use, shameless plug, my seasoned flour. We talked about that earlier. Packed with flavor. If you guys haven't tried that yet, definitely get you some. We're gonna take our marinated salmon bites with the skin on. Now, for those of you that don't know, the skin doesn't mean the scales. I've seen a lot of comments about how you eating the scales. I'm not. The scales are removed, but the skin is still intact. Tons of nutrients in the skin, guys. So, do your Googles on that. But it's good for you, and I like it, so I'm leaving it on, but you're welcome to remove it if you like to. Plenty of videos online for that. We're gonna coat our salmon bites beautifully in that seasoned flour, place them on a foil lined baking sheet, and let them hang out for a few minutes while we let our oil come up to temperature. These fry up really quick, guys. You don't want to overcook your salmon, so as soon as they get nice and golden brown, at least 125, 130 internal, they're perfect. Now we're going into that 350 degree oil. Don't overcrowd your fryer. Let's get in there for the taste test, see what we got. Damn. You guys gotta try that seasoned flour. All right, so now that we got lunch out of the way, let's move on to dinner and get our pan-seared salmon done. Now, my friends, it's time for dinner or meal prep, whatever you want to do. This is for lunch too if you want to. We got 3 beautiful salmon fillets. We're gonna season them with my all-purpose, or just use some salt and pepper or whatever your favorite all-purpose seasoning is at the house. This is like a blend of salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, things like that. I like to season skin side down first because I like to present flesh side up. So whatever you're presenting with, you want to season that last. That way it looks nice and pretty. Little chili powder, little AP. That's my go-to when it comes to salmon. You could also use lemon bay in place of the AP. Whatever's closest, that's what I grabbed. So I'm gonna flip this over Season the other side, make sure we get some even coverage. And we're gonna sear this in the skillet, baste it in some butter, and finish it in a 400-degree oven until it hits your desired internal temperature, which for me is somewhere around medium when it comes to salmon. That chili powder is gonna add some nice flavor, and most importantly, it's gonna give a beautiful sear, beautiful color on that salmon. There it is, folks, simple as that. Now for the pan seared version, we're gonna heat our skillet over medium heat, add about a tablespoon of avocado oil. I like avocado oil because it has a very high smoke point, about 500 degrees, very mild in flavor and healthy for you. So that's why we're using that today. I'm gonna let that warm up, and then down we go with our perfectly seasoned salmon. Again, presentation side down first. Make sure it's making maximum surface area contact with that skillet. And then once it develops some nice color, we're gonna flip it over, baste it with some butter, finish it in the oven. And this is the part where I say, brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys, looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in for the third and final preparation, which is the dinner. We've given you breakfast or brunch, we've given you lunch or appetizer, and now it's time for dinner. Also could be used for meal prep. Hell, all of these could be used for meal prep. Look how flaky that salmon is. Man. Sometimes you just nail it, guys. The internet's favorite fish, 3 different ways.